It's here, I love it, and now I'm questioning everything. I'm a self-proclaimed sports watch guy. I like a rugged watch. One that's kind of tough, puts function first, and isn't afraid to get wet. And yet, here I am with a small, dressy watch with nearly no water resistance, and I'm happily wearing it every day. How did we get here? This Cartier Tank Must SolarBeat was announced in early 2021 at the Watches and Wonders trade show. It was a surprise. Not just this watch, but the revival of the Must to Cartier line. Cartier Must watches first appeared in 1977 and lived into the 1980s. They were affordable, battery-powered versions of some classic and more expensive Cartier timepieces. The idea was to get a broader demographic into the brand, and I think that's the same idea here. Compared to the 80s, most of these latest Must watches are a bit larger, as is the style of the time, and now none of them are gold-plated, but once again they mostly use quartz movements, and in the case of the SolarBeat, a quartz movement with a twist. This is the first Cartier watch to be photovoltaic. It's powered by light. Light is the source of energy, and a quartz crystal is used for timekeeping. This is not revolutionary technology. Citizen has been doing this for decades, Seiko too, Casio. Even Tissot has the light-powered T-Touch watches, but the legendary House of Cartier? Sacre bleu! I waited nearly a year for this watch. I know for some brands and some watches that's typical these days, unfortunately, but for a tiny quartz watch, kind of unheard of. That wait wasn't entirely due to the SolarBeat's popularity, but a mix of popularity and supply chain issues. At least that's what I've heard and what the Cartier CEO has said. He also said that we'd be seeing a lot more of these in June 2022, and here we are. So if you've been waiting for one of these, your time may be coming soon. Pun intended. Pun always intended. There are two sizes of the Cartier Must SolarBeat watch. The medium, which is small, and the large, which is medium. This is the large, and in the large size there are actually two references. The regular production WSTA0059 and this WSTA0062. This one is known internally as a one-shot, and it's available only to certain stores and boutiques, and it's limited to one per store. And the only difference between the one-shot that I bought and the regular edition is the strap color. The size, price, case number, everything is exactly the same except the strap color, and yeah, the reference number. All the straps on the new SolarBeat watches are vegan. They're made from scraps of apples grown in Switzerland, Italy, and Germany. And the strap is fine, but I've been loving the watch on this 19mm bracelet. I like the added weight of the bracelet, and I think it looks amazing and somehow makes the watch look a bit larger. The bracelet is from Jackson Watch Strap. Up close it looks and feels kinda cheap, but that's fine with me. It was less than $40. A link to this bracelet is in the video's description, and it might be sold out, but I have it on good authority that more are on the way, so be cool. Cool? Cool. The large Tank Must lists for $2,950. It's 25.5mm wide, 33.7mm long, and 6.6mm thick. With 30 meters of water resistance, I'm treating this like a mogwai. 80s kids, where you at? The weight is negligible. There's no way this is too heavy for you, but the opposite might be true. It could be too light for you, and too small for you. You're seeing the large tank on my 7-inch wrist, just over 7 inches, 18 centimeters, and it is most certainly small. I was briefly tempted by the extra large Tank Must. It's mechanical and has an awesome guilloche dial, but I really like the idea of a SolarBeat movement, and I felt like the XL was way too big on my wrist for a tank. Not too big for a watch, but too big for a tank watch. You see, since its inception in 1917, the Cartier Tank has been a small watch, and I think it's best that way. It's more elegant. And these days, when a lot of dudes wouldn't dream of wearing something diminutive, I think it takes a lot of confidence to wear a small watch. And if there's one thing I have too much of, it's arrogance. I mean confidence. And watches. I also have too many of those. And it's worth noting that this large SolarBeat is the exact same case size and design as the large gold Tank Louis, which in my opinion is the current definitive tank watch. So I say, this is the proper size for a tank. And you can believe me, I'm on the internet. Now, I don't care about celebrity culture, but I think celebrities wearing Cartier tanks can give us a glimpse of the stylistic diversity of this small, iconic watch. Sure, it can be dressy, but I love the tank as an informal daily watch with jeans, casual shirts, and dare I say maybe even shorts this summer. Over the decades, the tank has been paired with every type of contemporary fashion, so maybe by now it isn't a dress watch after all. But Evan, you say, didn't we already go through this with your medium Santos? You tried this before. It's true, I wanted the Cartier Santos to be my sporty daily watch, but it felt too precious to me. I couldn't swing it. And here we are with another Cartier, this time even dressier and with less water resistance. But this time it's different, baby, I swear. And that's true, I don't worry about this watch at all. I'm not worried about scratching it, banging it, dropping it. I feel totally comfortable with this tank SolarBeat. And I think that's for two reasons. First, the price. The large SolarBeat costs under $3,000. That is an absurd and upsetting amount of money, more than most people in the world have and more than anyone should spend on a watch. And yet, for a luxury watch from Cartier, it's kinda sorta cheap. It's less than half the price of the Santos I owned. That immediately makes me feel safer with this watch. As for scratches, I welcome them. I'm honestly looking forward to a few battle scars. And second, this has a quartz movement, which should be tougher and more accurate than a mechanical movement. There are some truly robust mechanical calibers out there, but I'll bet they are more delicate than the quartz movement in this fancy boy watch. Cartier says this watch should run for about 16 years without servicing. That's probably the functional life of the rechargeable battery inside. Does that mean it'll hold less charge over the years? I don't know, maybe. But if it's getting regular light, even for a couple hours a week, it doesn't really need to hold a charge for long. The way this watch takes in photons is pretty clever. There's no obvious solar panel here like you see on a lot of Citizens and Seikos. On this SolarBeat, the Roman numerals on the dial are the photosensitive elements. It's nearly impossible to tell, but the dial is actually a sandwich dial. The numerals are cutouts from a very thin white dial plate. And because it's so hard to tell that this is a solar watch, there could be, and has been, some confusion about this large SolarBeat and the large standard quartz tank, which uses the same case. There's a trick that I learned from Instagram user TimeTraveler812. The serifs on the SolarBeat are not connected like they are on the standard quartz watch. You have to look closely, but it's a clear identifier. And I think this watch itself is a clear identifier too, of a certain type of person. I don't know, maybe I'm overthinking it, but when I see a guy wearing a Cartier tank, I associate a certain level of taste with that person. Thoughtfulness, refined style, things I aspire to. Wait, things to which I aspire. Nailed it. This watch is a classic. Yes, it's been treated as a dress watch for many years, but I think it can do a lot more, and I'm gonna find out what it can do for me. I've really been wearing the SolarBeat every day since I got it. Not all day every day, I'm not a monster, but at some point in the day I put this on and it just feels and looks right to me. Now I get that it won't feel or look right to everyone, or even most people. It's small, it's too expensive, it's too fancy, it's too quartz, blech. But for me, for now, this is the right watch. And don't expect me to make a breakup video anytime soon. This time it's different, baby, I swear.